All right, I've welcome back for another episode of Carnivore Trades. Today is Monday, September 18th, 2023. If you're not done so already, please give the video a thumbs up, like, comment, subscribe to the channel. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com for swing trading alerts and analysis. Anyways, let's get into it today. So, really quiet day here in the market. We did get a little dead cat. Well, we kind of had a small gap down. Little one candle sell, and then just kind of a float higher, kind of a dead cat bouncer. We had that pretty good sell on Friday, and just kind of a pause day from that. So not really the best price action for bulls. You don't want to see consolidation above this support level, and that's kind of what we're doing here. So I do think we do test that probably tomorrow. Again, just really unable to sustain a bounce. My guess is today we close right here. See that 44.50? It's about 3:30 right now. So again, we got 30 minutes to the close, but it's been a quiet day. So doing the video a little on the early side, but again, right into that 44.50 area. That's where the dealers want it. We'll see if the bears can break that tomorrow. You get a close below this, that opens the door for more downside. Now, tomorrow, or I should say Wednesday, there is the FOMC. They are not expected to hike. There is speculation that they may decide to hike, though. And if they do that, look for a leak in the Wall Street Journal. So they're not going to do it. They're not going to surprise the market. It'll be very unusual considering what normal behavior pattern is for Jerome Powell. Why would they hike? Well, yields are really starting to push up, right? So if we look at the 2-year, this is just the futures here, and it's hammering on that level. If we look at the 10-year, did finish fractionally lower here today, but I mean, look at that. It's right there. It's hammering on these levels. There's the 30-year. Back above 4.4 again, and then 5-year 44.62 on the FVX. That wasn't the story though, right? So overnight, there was a fake print across the board on TradingView, on investing.com, on CNBC. 2-year, 5-year, 10, 30, all of them fake printing. The 2-year went as high as basically 5.5. There was some debate on Twitter. I even tweeted this immediately, and immediately kind of retweeted and said, okay, this is a fake print. There's some people who don't understand what's going on, but let me tell you, this is definitely a fake print. If it wasn't a fake print, this right here would be down here today. There is no doubt about that. And this would be all the way, this would be up easy 50, 100% easily. A 40 basis point move in the bond market during Globex, you bet the VIX would be up 30, 40, 50%. I heard people trying to say, oh, well, the algo, it was up there. It was at 5.5 for too long for it to be a fake print. Trust me, if it was up there, the algos would have bid the VIX up. So it was definitely fake. But what do we know about fake prints? They usually play out, right? So that's something to keep an eye on. And as you know, if you guys watch my channel regularly, I expect that print to happen eventually. But doing that in a 30-minute period or whatever it was overnight, that would we would be limit down right now. So they would have to shut the system down. That's how much damage would be done. So that didn't actually, print, so to say. But it is concerning, right? And again, yields right now, that's kind of the story, hammering up there on those levels, and we got to watch that. That's why I say maybe the Fed, if they don't hike, they're kind of, it's kind of getting close, right? We're at 5.06 right now. That's going to be a new closing high, I think, or close to it. But by the bottom line, 5.33, that's the effective Fed funds rate. So let's say they don't hike. We only have 25, 30 basis points to go to take that out. And if we take that out, risk assets are going lower. That's really that simple, because that's not priced in, right? This whole rally here has been, especially in tech, has been predicated on the fact that the Fed's going to start cutting rates soon. And if that happens, it's not going to be a good thing. But right now, quiet day on the market, still kind of a dead cat bounce. Again, I'm using the SPX here, because spiders went ex-dividend on Friday, and you can see the SPY is basically right on that support level because of the dividend payout. But SPX here, still kind of close, but we'll see. Tomorrow that should get tested, I think. And again, you can see we're slipping here. We should close right around 44.50 unless we flush, but I don't really see that happening right now. But again, FOMC Wednesday, we'll see. Look out for leaks if there is one. Expect the Fed to hike, I guess. Triple Qs here down 61 cents. Cutting below this trend line here. Kind of a 20 MA test, backing off of that. Again, same kind of dead cat bounce here, and we're seeing a lot of dispersion. And what do I mean by that? You've got Apple up 2% today, but the market's down. So, Tesla getting hit really hard. NVIDIA gapping down into this trend line. Did come back to the green side, and now it's slightly negative. Microsoft down 1%. So it's like if certain areas are up, then other areas have to be down, that type of thing. But triple Qs here breaking that trend line. Again, if we continue through that and through this pivot, then it's down to that 100 MA and this trend line, and then, of course, this pivot. If that goes, then things get a lot more interesting. But again, one level at a time. And we do have the FOMC Wednesday, so keep that in mind. Russell 2000 hammering on this trend line here. So watch this tomorrow. We gap down. This head and shoulder will be in play. Now you have to close below it. You got to close below it in order to trigger it. Today, I'm not going to say, unless we flush here in the next 20 minutes, I'm not even going to call it triggered. We'll look tomorrow. But it is hammering on that, so keep that in mind. It could get faked out too if we close back above it on Wednesday or Thursday or any time this week, so just be aware of that. These patterns tend to fake out a lot, but keep it in mind it's there. If it does trigger, we're looking at 175, 176 there minimum to fill that gap there. So Russell in a little bit of trouble. Dow still stuck in a range here. I'm not going to make a lot out of it. SMH, again, like NVIDIA, same trend line for the most part. Pretty much going back to a year, hitting that 100 moving average, down 3 cents on the day, came off the lows. Again, didn't quite hit the trend line, but bottom line is this pivot's got to hold. If it doesn't, there's a big ass air pocket there. IGV, flat to negative, close below that pivot. We're down here, down 64 cents. Still a lot of support at 340 if we get down there. Dow Transports, again, weak, right? So dead cat bounce off the 100. If we base here, it's going to 14.8. Got to get above the 20 moving average to really do anything, and then above 15.6 to do anything on the upside. Interest rates we already talked about, but again, you can see here the ZT did nothing overnight, so definitely a fake print. Same thing with the ZN and the ZB. XHB, that got a little bit of a bounce. Still watching this trend line here and the 100 moving average. That breaks, takes you down to this purple line. Very simple. VNQ down 75 cents. Again, still support down here at 78. Big resistance at 84. Nothing's changed there. KBWB down a little bit on the day. XLF down, although it did come off the lows. JPM and Berkshire were strong. KBE, weak. KRE, even weaker. Down 1.64. Full disclosure, I do have puts on this. And I think this gets down to the low, 41 to 40.50 area. We'll see how that goes into tomorrow. I do not like that look. Hit double bottom and a little dead cat bounce. So fins, definitely on the weaker side, could be telling us something. Broker dealers, managing to scratch out a gain. That can still get through 510. Got a nice higher low with equal highs here. So if you get through that, it can get up to 515, 520. Crude does not want to come down. So up 1% again, came off the highs, a little bit of a micro spinning top, but look at the volume there, right? That's not sell signal volume. So I wouldn't make a whole lot out of it. I think this wants to get to 93, 94. At that point, I think it's a good risk reward. I get a lot of questions about shorting crude here. I think it's a good enough risk reward to get up into this area. Right now, it's tough. It's a tough trade. Yes, it's very overbought. Take a look at this. 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16, 17, 15 out of the last 17 days green. You are coming into a good level here, but look at the volume there. There's no sell signal there. Not yet, anyway. XLE hanging in there, holding that yellow trend line as support for right now. We'll see what that does. I still think that can get to double top. XOP coming in a little bit here, testing that 20-day moving average. And OIH remains strong. It is into that big monthly resistance level we talked about, but it's holding up right now. Nat gas getting a pop. There's speculation here too. This is taking a long time to get going, But you have that good pattern, right? Big weekly pattern. And if oil tops out, does that energy trade rotate? Speaking of energy trade, does CCJ top out on Friday? Does that rotate to nat gas? So something to watch there. As you see crude. But again, natty, pop, 1, 2, 3, pullback. Inside of this wedge here, you got to get above this trend line. You got to get above 286. But nice pop there today. Dollar index, still strong, right? So pullback day down 18 cents, but there ain't no problems here. This can consolidate. Nice pop there, inside bar, 20 moving average, you're above it. It's not extended. No issues. That still should get to 106, 106.50. Still kicking myself last week. I was really hoping for a gap down on CPI to buy some calls. Never quite got there. But either way, dollar still looks good. 106, 106.50 is still my target on DXY. Gold here, still holding up well. And again, it's holding up nicely considering the strong dollar. Still inside of this wedge here. You get above that, you have a little bit of a pivot at 1980 and then 2000. Below that, 1900. And then 1825. Levels have not changed there. Silver, decent pop, up 10 cents. Still below Friday's high. So nothing great yet. Still below those moving averages, but it got a little bit of a bid. You don't want to see it come down here and consolidate in that low 23 range. If it does, it's setting up for another drop, which I do think happens. We'll be a buyer of that drop. Platinum stalling out at the 50 and the 20. If it gets through that, we'll look at 960 again. Palladium, still a nothing burger. Copper rolling over a little bit, but it's not broken. That could still get to 390 if it holds up here. Bitcoin, interesting price action. So this morning it was a little suspect of this pump here. Saw a lot of people get on the bull train, and we tested the 50 and we pulled back. It is decently off the lows, getting a little bit of a bounce there intraday, but pretty good sell off of that. I don't trust the liquidity in this market right now. I just don't trust anything it's doing. What I will say is when you have those patterns, you go to your bigger time frame, and right now you have weekly bearish inside bar until proven otherwise. I told you guys I had the upside bias to 27.5. We got to 27.441 today. So close. No, there's nothing to say we can't go up to 28, right? Pattern's nice, a little pullback and a pop, but we're coming off the highs, and you don't want to close below this pivot. That would be kind of a sign of weakness there. I just don't trust the moves right now. But it did have a nice little fake out there, pullback and a pop. I'm not going to make too much out of it right now, but I did notice a lot of bulls got on board this morning, and that made me a little suspect here, and it did pull back in off the highs. Again, I don't really have a bias on it right now. Anyways, lastly, over to the spiders here. Guess what? We're at 44.50. Markets close in about 15 minutes. That's where we're going to close here today, most likely. Tomorrow, watch this trend line here, 44.31, spot 68. We get a close below that. Probably takes us down to this 100 moving average. If you take that out in this pivot, then things get interesting. We can go down here. But again, one thing at a time, one day at a time. We're in a very turbulent market, very turbulent time, and we're going into an FOMC statement. So be aware of that as well. Anyways, guys, going to wrap up here. You guys take care. Come find me on carnivoretrades.com. I will talk to you all tomorrow.